So hello and welcome to today's webinar organized by HAL Management Academy, which is learning mindset in this VUCA world. So what is this VUCA world? Of course, will be explained by the eminent speaker with us today. But before we begin with our webinar, I would like to introduce myself. So I will be your moderator for today's webinar. So I am Vinay Tiwari. I have joined HAL in 2008 as management trainee, and I'm graduate in mechanical engineering. I have done my MBA from IIM Bangalore and worked in a helicopter, as well as a fixed wing aircraft. Presently, I'm working in HAL Management Academy as senior manager and a faculty. So today, what we'll do after this progress of the webinar and what are the modalities of it. First, we'll have our speakers speaking about the learning mindset in the VUCA world. Later on, I will be taking your questions, anything which is pertaining to the PGDM program in HMA or about HMA, anything you want to know. I would like to welcome our speaker for today, Suparna ma'am. So welcome you, ma'am. So ma'am is graduate in electronics and communication engineering from prestigious IIT BHU. Ma'am has served in ITI Limited and Avionics Division, Hyderabad, HAL. Ma'am has done her PGDM in financial management and PGDM in operation management as well. The area of specialization of ma'am is like project and risk management, emotional intelligence, happiness, organization, behavior, and the development. And she's been taking classes and the webinars all across in all these areas, pertaining to the stress management, emotional intelligence, and the happiness. So the ma'am has got the various certification as well in various areas: project management professionals, agile hybrid micro credentials, PMI USA, the certified professional in talent development, ATD USA, specialization in positive psychology, UPenn USA, happiness coach, Barclays Institute of USA, leadership development program she has done from HAL, which is in IAS Toulouse. The inspiring learning through the emotional intelligence, that too from the Case Western University, USA, and trauma-based facilitation and various theater resources. That is her areas of the interest. Ma'am has won the various awards as well. The champion in PSU category in national competition for the managers 2018 conducted by AIMA. The recipient of the Outstanding Women Executive awarded by the Women in Public Sector, HAL. Certification of appreciation, 8th Asian Women in Leadership Summit 2019. So we welcome you, ma'am, for today's webinar, and hope you will interact and ask questions and learn a lot in this volatile world like we have in present time of the COVID. So over to you, ma'am. Welcome, ma'am.
Thanks, Vinay. Thanks for this interesting introduction, and thanks for having me here. Good morning to all of you, and welcome to this webinar. And I hope we have a meaningful session and we are able to kind of learn from each other, because any exercise that we do, it's always a mutually learning exercise. So if you can put it in the chat, how many of you actually know the meaning of VUCA? So volatile is the V, and what is next? Uncertainty. Okay, yes. Okay, great, fantastic. It's only, okay, who's the K? Okay. So we have one person who has all the answers. Interesting. Ambiguity, yes. So volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. That's the meaning of the word VUCA. And why we are using this word is because in today's environment, that's what we are facing. Even if we talk of pandemic or even before the pandemic, there is a lot of uncertainty in the world. There is a lot of changes that are happening, which are very difficult to predict. And everything is complex, and there is no right and wrong answer in today's environment, because to make sense of the changes that are happening in the world is extremely difficult. So there is a term that we use, which is known as the butterfly effect, which is that if a butterfly flaps its wings in one part of the world, there are storms and tornadoes in another part of the world. And that's how the business world has also become. Extremely interconnected, extremely complex, and also changing at a very, very fast pace. So if you look at the changes that happened at the start of, say, the 20th century, and the pace of change that happened at that time, it was probably 100 times slower than what we are seeing today. And when we talk about an environment like this, The challenge is that how do we not only survive in this environment, but actually thrive in this environment. We grow, we expand, and we create purpose and meaning, and also returns for ourselves as well as the communities or organizations that we are part of. And how do we do that? And this is more important for people who are either at the start of their careers or have had spent few years, but still have long careers left. Because the world that they are going to face, including all of you, most of you here, the world that you are going to face will be extremely different from what we have even seen, dreamt, or thought of. So how do we actually manage ourselves in this world? What are the competencies that are required in this world? As per the education world, which has done a study on what are the competencies that would be required in the world of tomorrow, especially for the next gen people who will be starting their careers in the times to come. They talk about 4 C's, the 4 C's for thriving in the VUCA world. And the 4 C's are basically critical thinking. That means ability to see meaning in data, because in today's world, it's not the shortage of data that is a problem. It is the deluge of data that is a challenge for us. And how do we make meaning out of that data? So critical thinking is the first competency that is required. The next competency is communication. The ability to communicate with a variety of stakeholders that we will come across while working in organization or even in our lives in general. Then collaboration, the ability to collaborate with people at all levels, at our peer level, with our seniors, with our juniors, with people who we think as competitors. So the word that we are using these days is called co-opetition. That means collaborating with your competitors, because there is nothing called competition in business. Somebody who's a competitor today can be a collaborator tomorrow. So the learning the art of collaboration, and the last one being the creativity. How can we see problems as possibilities? How can we question the status quo? How can we, and when I say creativity, creativity does not mean art or anything artistic. Creativity is looking at a problem differently, finding a solution which is new. All of that is part of creativity. So as per the studies that are being done, what educators are telling people is that whatever we are going to study today will probably change after 10 years or 20 years, because technology is changing at a very fast pace. But if we are able to inculcate these competencies within people, then whatever it may be, they will have the ability to adopt themselves to the changing environment and to the changing world. So there are some studies which say that for the future generation or for the next generation, it will not be about multiple jobs. It will be about multiple careers. That means you may not stay in one standard career for 30, 40, 50 years of your working life. You may actually shift. Why? Because things are changing very fast. So if somebody is today in a banking career, if there's too much of data and automation that comes in banking, tomorrow the person may have to actually move into a different career. But if we have this ability to adopt ourselves to with this mindset and this skill available with us, we'll be able to adopt in different careers that are possible. So these 4 C's, I add 1 E, which is very significant, and I've seen a lot of repercussions of that in organizations, is emotional intelligence or emotional equanimity, the ability to balance yourself, the ability to face changes. Because the way we are seeing when things change, we become uncomfortable. So how can I be comfortable with the discomfort that I'm facing? How can I keep my emotions in balanced state so that I'm able to look at problems differently and find different solutions? So the 4 C's and the 1 E is the competency that is required for the managers or for the next gen leaders that are coming up in this space. And The other thing that is being talked about for very essential for today and tomorrow is what is known as the T approach to learning. So when we say T, the T has a vertical and a T has a spread. It's a vertical and a horizontal. So this concept was first given by Tim Brown, who is the CEO of IDEO, which is considered to be one of the most creative companies in the world. And what he says that for each one of us, we need to have this T. T is that means depth in one area of specialization, and then width of knowledge in multiple areas that we may come across in our working life. And this is the approach on which the programs and the courses that we run at HAL Management Academy, about which Mr. Vinay will be also talking about tomorrow. This is the approach that we follow. Inculcating the 4 C's and the 1 E, developing curiosity, broadening your horizon of competencies and skills that are available. Because depth, yes. So when we go through our four years of engineering course, engineering basically teaches us, at least that's what I think. I don't remember any of the subjects that probably I learned in my engineering, but the only thing I think it taught me is to be analytical, to be logical, to see everything with rationality, to create a flow chart. That's what engineering taught me. And based on that, I can develop my specialization. So your specialization can be production, your specialization can be IT, your specialization can be aerospace. That's the depth that is being provided. But in addition to that, what is the width that is required? The horizontal of the T. The width is about presentations. The width is about law. The width is about industrial industry 4.0. The width is about project management. The width is about behavior. The width can be about wellness. It can be multiple set of things. Operational excellence. It can hold a large gamut of things that we need to look at. And that's how we have actually built our the whole program. How can we give you the depth in a particular area, the depth in aeronautics, the production, and how can we give width through the courses that we have, through collaborations that we have with other institutes. And that is what we call as the generalist specialist. So a generalist specialist is that the person has a specialization in a particular domain, in a particular area, and that person is an expert in that area. But the person also has the ability to look at things in a broader perspective. The person has an ability to cross into multiple areas of work based on this generalist idea of what's happening in the industry, what's happening in the areas, different areas of the world, what are the changes that are happening in technology, all of that put together. So this is the T approach that is essential. In fact, project management body of knowledge talks about this generalist specialist, because they say that the project managers of tomorrow, and project management is one of the key competencies that is essential for us to be able to succeed in this highly volatile and changing world, is developing yourself as a generalist specialist. And that's how we can probably adopt to the changing world. So I can take a pause, and if there are any questions, we can take a pause, and if there are any questions, anybody would like to have a question, you can put it in the chat. So in addition to these competencies, this concept of becoming a generalist specialist, what is the mindset that is required for the VUCA world? Because that's the topic that we are talking about. What is that mindset required? What is, how do we need to look at things? How do we need to adopt ourselves to the changing world? And this mindset is what is known as a growth mindset. And this is a concept that has been given by a very famous researcher from one of the top-notch US universities called Carol Dweck. And she calls it as a growth mindset versus the fixed mindset. And what is the growth mindset? Growth mindset is about looking at, first of all, knowing that I don't know everything. Also knowing that my potential and my abilities depend on the amount of energy and effort that I can put into my work. That means my abilities are constantly changing and evolving, and the evolution depends on the amount of effort and the amount of experiments and the amount of learning that I do. And that's what a growth mindset is about. In growth, the people who are in growth mindset do not always are open to feedback. They are open to not only receiving feedback, but also giving feedback, because they understand that feedback is a process of learning. And it is very different from criticism. So they are always open to feedback. They look at failure as opportunities to learn. They look at people who are successful as role models from whom they can learn ways of the world. They don't envy those people. They look at them as role models and learn from them. And that's what a growth mindset is about. Growth mindset is a lot about, there's another concept that is very popular and given by another researchers whose name is Angela Duckworth. And she calls is the ability of grit. That means, can I stay with what I have taken up, even to the extent that even when it becomes difficult, when it becomes very challenging, can I stay to it? And there was a research done which shows that with children or with young adults, it is not about the IQ and the talent. It is about this ability to stay with the problem and work with it and put consistent effort into doing and resolving problems. And this is what is extremely important in fast changing world. Can I have the courage and conviction? Can I have this consistency of approach? Because one of the things that Charles Darwin had said in his theory of evolution was that it's not the most intelligent or the most powerful who will survive this in this world. It are the people or the species which will survive in this world are those that are most adaptable to change. And for that change to happen, we need to have this growth mindset, constantly learning, constantly looking at improving oneself, constantly looking at different ways of learning. And learning need not necessarily only come from academic pursuits. Learning can come from looking at art, learning can come from talking to your peers, learning can come from interacting with other people, learning can come through games and sports. Learning can come in multiple ways. Am I open to exploring those multiple ways of learning? And that is what the growth mindset is all about. So there's a question there. Okay. How can a PG program enhance the broad basing of knowledge? Yes, thank you for that question. That's a very interesting question. So when we talk about any postgraduate program, especially in the field of management and business, the competencies that normally that we look at is how do we make the person to be successful in the real world? Because engineering actually looks more at theoretical concepts, whereas management looks at the application part of it. And in the PG program specifically that we run at HAL Management Academy, because it is led by industry, it is not led by academia. It's a very unique program. It is an industry-led program which have academic knowledge and depth, but also have practical experience based on which the program has been designed. So when it comes from that space, we are able to provide the different gamuts that are essential for a manager to succeed in the real world, whether it is communication, whether it is problem solving, whether it is data analytics, whether it is learning through outbound activities, whether it is learning through theater and other forms. So there are multiple ways, and what that enables us is to broaden our ways, giving various inputs which may not be directly related to your area of work, but which will help one broaden our perspective, broaden our view, broaden our understanding, make meaning of unconnected things, because that is something which is very essential in a VUCA environment, because we don't know what is linked to what. And that's how the broadening happens. So it is knowledge of technology, it is knowledge of people, it is knowledge of products, it is knowledge of the world. And that's how the base is broadened. What are the multiple learning concepts that can be obtained in a PG? Okay, I can answer the how important, unimportant is competition between individuals in a VUCA world. Okay, that's a interesting question. Yes, so competition is important because competition helps us push ourselves to some extent. But when competition becomes rivalry, that's when the challenges happen. So how can we compete with each other, but not as enemies, not as somebody who are against each other? We are competing with each other as partners. We are competing with each other, knowing that tomorrow I may need to work with you, knowing that maybe tomorrow you have a fantastic idea and I would like to collaborate with you in these ideas. And this is not only between individuals, even in organizations, especially in the aerospace environment, there is nothing called competition. A supplier who today is competing to Boeing, tomorrow can actually be part of Boeing and be supplying parts to Boeing. And these are the synergies that we are seeing in the complex supply chains that are changing in the aerospace sector also. So that's how it is. So competition, yes, it is good to some extent, but competition at becoming difficult at a personal level where two people totally don't want to see each other or be with each other, that is harmful at individual level as well as in business and organizations. So in a PG program, what is it that what are the various learning concepts that we can achieve? And I can share about what we do at HAL Management Academy. So we take you through a process which is very strongly rooted in academics, based on the requirements that exist from AICT. But in addition to that, because we also have the expertise that comes not only from the industry, but HAL Management Academy being in the area of training of entry level as well as middle and senior level executives, we also understand what the industry wants. And we train you well in advance for being fit into the industry. So we train you through presentations, through debates, through outbound activities that we do. We train you in multiple ways, through live projects, through problems that may be offered to you, through labs that will be run here. So it's a whole set of broadening of the learning that happens, and it could be experiential learning, and a lot of learning that will happen here would be experiential in nature, enabling people to work together, because collaboration is a skill that needs to be developed. So how can, within the environment that we exist, how can we enhance collaboration? How can we enhance creativity? And these are the areas that we actually focus on. And a lot of attention is also paid to self-development and emotional intelligence, which is again a very important concept that is required for managers to be successful in the business world. So these, yes. Go ahead.
Shall I interrupt here, ma'am?
Yes, yes, please.
Yes, there are a few questions coming in from the participants. In the progress, I thought this is the right time to ask these questions.
Sure.
So Ashish Damodaran, student of PGDM, he's asking how important is the competition in the VUCA world between individuals?
Yeah, so I was seeing the chat, so I already answered that question.
Okay, so Q&A, it is already there. So
I think one question I can see
Sanskar Mishra and Harshal. So Sanskar Mishra, have you taken this question, right?
No, I have not.
So Sanskar Mishra is asking, he's a BBA student, and he even asked a question regarding the career path doing this PG course for those students who don't have a technical background.
Okay, and that's a very interesting question. So we may not actually need a technical background, though we would prefer a science or a computer science degree, even if it's a simple graduation, not necessarily an engineering degree, because there is a little bit of technical knowledge that would be part of this course because it is part of the aerospace sector. So that much of a technical skills would be there, so which may be around 20 to 30% of the course. But a lot of the other things which are essential for the industry would be part of it. So if you are, and that's probably the mindset that we are talking about, even if you are not an engineer, if you are willing to stretch yourself, if you are willing to learn, if you are willing to unlearn a little things that you've learned in your previous degree courses, if you are willing to do that, and if you are willing to stay with it, this course will actually prove very, very helpful to you. And it will open a large gamut of opportunities, not only in the aerospace industry, but in fact, yesterday only we had a talk by a very senior policy maker from the government of Telangana, who was talking about opportunities available in leasing market, where a finance background would definitely help. Even in airport business, where probably a marketing mindset would help. So whatever frame that you are coming from, if you are willing to adopt and if you are willing to learn what we are offering, maybe it might be a little difficult for you to at a start, but we would be there to support you. It will open a whole range of possibilities for you. And that's the entire purpose of our program. Vinay, you're muted.
Okay. So, sorry. There is one more question coming from the Harshal Ninave. So he's talking about there is a norm of following a certain job and get higher in the professional ladder in the same company. So how does one grow according to the T model of the generalized specialization?
So could you repeat the question?
So he's talking about, there is a general norm wherein people go and join organization and join any company and grow up in a professional ladder in a same company. So how does one grow according to the T model of generalized specialization?
Correct. Right. So when we say that, so when we start in any organization, we focus on our technical skills. We focus on what we've learned in our previous, it could be engineering degree or whatever it may be. So the first 4 or 5 years of probably our career are focused on developing those technical skills and those technical abilities. And also when we are part of organization, we are rewarded for that. So when I do well in my technical abilities, I may grow the next level in the organization. But the challenge happens that if we just, because I am being rewarded for what I'm good at, if I just stay there, then I don't expand my horizons and look at multiple things. Even if you look at the IT industry, there are people who are drawing huge amounts of money and salaries. In fact, I was reading in the newspaper only yesterday how certain skills are being sought after not only by recruiters in India, but also abroad. But the challenge is these skills last for a very short time. And if we don't have the ability to mold and remold ourselves to the changing requirements, and as we grow up the value chain in the organization, if we are not able to look at other areas, other cross-domain areas, understanding the complexity of the business, looking at why this company is doing something like this, looking at strategy, looking at the balance sheet, then after a point we may just be remain rooted only to those technical abilities, and we may not move ahead and become actually a real manager or a project manager, which probably is one of our aspirations. So to become a successful manager or a project manager, we need to look at all of those things. We need to look at the business part of the story. We need to look at the operational part of the story. We need to look at the strategic part of the organization. And when we are able to do that, that's when we become a generalist specialist. That means I know a little bit also about procurement. I know a little bit about contracts. I also know a little bit about managing people. I know about managing teams. I know about strategy. But I do also have a specialist domain in which I am the expert. And in addition to growing in that, I also keep broadening my horizon. And that's mostly after 10 years of service. If we are not able to shift ourselves to that generalist space, our career progress may actually slow down.
Yes, ma'am. As of now, these were the questions we had from the participants.
Okay. So there's one question that I can see in the chat. Can I answer that, Vinay?
Sure, ma'am. Sure, ma'am.
So this is a question from Vishal, I think. Does it benefit doing this course at the age of 37? Already have 8 years of work experience with BPO IT sector with graduation in chemistry and also have diploma in computer engineering. Okay. Now, this is a question that I can only give you some sense. I cannot answer it for you because that's your very individual decision and because I have very limited information about you. But what I can say that I know it may sound a little frivolous, but I always say age is just a number. If you are willing to learn and also why you are doing this, that's a very important question for you to answer. Why do you want to do it? What's your reason for doing it? Are you ready for a long-term game? Are you ready to invest 2 years of your life into coming back to studies again? And if you are willing to do that, then studying at any age will change things for you. In fact, I don't know how many of you have read, but I read about 2-3 days back only, I read about this fantastic woman by the name of Prema Bed, who has graduated from IIM, post-graduation from IIM Vizag at the age of 44. She has 2 kids and she has got 2 gold medals, right? So that's a choice, a very individual choice, but you need to have your reasons in place. Do you have an interest in this area? Is another question that you need to ask. Would you be interested? What's pulling you towards aerospace or what's pulling you towards production? And the rest of the things, obviously, we will take care of. But these are the questions that you need to ask yourself before you even think of joining this course. And if you need to talk to anyone first subsequently, I think that can be possible, right, Vinay?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, there is one question coming from Shrikant Sharma, sir. So between getting an entry-level job after graduation and going for a post-graduation in management, which is better?
That's a difficult question because when we talk of postgraduate, always it happens that there is a possibility that if I'm too niche in my area, my opportunities may actually reduce. And that's why too much of a specialization sometimes becomes a challenge. And that's why we are talking of this generalist specialist. So even though we have a aerospace and production, the course, even though it is centered around those broad pillars, but the breadth is available to you. So the opportunities that are available will actually expand, and also you will be actually a ready-made manager. So when we join an engineering level job after graduation, it takes us 4 years, 5 years to actually become a manager. Because probably we start at the lowest rung in the organization. And once the organization feels that I am fit, as I have technical expertise, then they probably may choose some of us to transition us to a managerial role. But when we do a post-graduation degree, we are already managers. We start as managers. We don't start as technical experts. We start as managers in the domains that I am taking expertise in, which is very, very, very essential, because another study that says is that there is a dearth of managerial skills which have industry knowledge and industry ready abilities to just start running when they join the organization. You don't need to train them anymore. And that's what a PG program does.
Thank you. Thank you very much, ma'am. So now I could see the questions which are pertaining related to the PGDM program. I'll be taking them separately, as I mentioned at the start of the webinar. Thank you very much, ma'am. Any concluding remarks here just to end the discussion, and then we can move on to the discussion related to the program.
Yes, thanks, Vinay. And my concluding remark would only be that the VUCA mindset is all about unlearning, learning, and relearning. How agile I can be, how balanced I can be. So when we talk of agility, it is like the tiger agility. You can turn in great speed without losing balance. So balance, agility, and the ability to continuously learn even from your mistakes is the mindset that is required for a VUCA world, in addition to the competencies and skills that we have spoken about. And that's what we strive to develop in each of the executive who joins the MBA program with us, because that's our focus. How can we train them to be ready running managers for the world that is out there open for them? So with that, I'll end. Thank you, Vinay. Thanks a lot. And over
Thank
to
you.
you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, ma'am. I think that is a learning I'll take. Be agile and keep learning. So this will keep you, floating, and you will survive in this VUCA world, what you are talking about today and what ma'am has discussed. So this is the boat you have got in this sea to survive. So thank you very much, ma'am, for joining today for the webinar. So there are various questions pertaining to the PGDM program, the modalities, the entrance procedures, the career opportunities, and all of this. So I would take all of these questions and answer one by one. You can post your question in a Q&A, because in chat it is slightly difficult to follow. So I'll answer your questions one by one. Before I'll explain about the program and about the HAL Management Academy, what do we do, and who we are, and all of that. So starting with the HAL Management Academy. So HAL Management Academy was founded almost 50 years back, way back in 1969. So it's been almost 52 years since then. So the objective of the HAL Management Academy back then, and a few years back also, to train the officers of HAL. So basically the people who are recruited and the middle management and the top management level as well, to train them and how to be a learning organization, and how to make our organization the learning organization, wherein the people who are constantly learning and improving, and so that the organization is benefited. So we started with the objective of this, but since in a present scenario and looking at the growth in the aviation sector, because that is the sector where is the potential, and we see that this sector, which is very nascent at this particular point of the time and growing at a very fast rate, so opportunities lies in the aviation sector, and HAL is one of the pioneer in the aviation sector. I think one only company which is present in the country which manufactures the aircraft and the helicopters. So considering that, we have opened our courses to the outside participant as well, and we have opened our academy to the outside participant as well in terms of the PGDM courses. So first two batches, what we had is a PGDAM courses, which we call as a PGDAM, postgraduate diploma in aviation management, and we started with an experienced professional. So already two batches of that, two batches has passed out from the our college, our institute, which was for the executives. Now from the last year, we have opened it for the freshers. So first batch is already going on; they are in a second semester. So the objective of opening the courses to the outside world is again the same, wherein we try to develop the expertise which is not there in a market out there for the aviation sector, which is ready to boom. And there are various evidences, conclusive evidences we can produce, and we can talk about why the aviation sector is on board. So what is a specialty of this course is that this course is not designed or delivered by the academician. Though we are approved by the AICT, all the courses are approved by the AICT and recognized by the different councils, whatever approvals we need to take. We have got all the necessary approvals with us. So this course is designed first of all by the professionals who are working in the industry and have all the relevant academic qualification at the same time, and run also by the professionals. So the people who are working day to day, what are the challenges, what are the situation, and what are the skills we need to impart into the people. That skills already we are teaching in here. So that is one of the major highlights of this course, PGDM program. And apart from that, HAL as a resource, we have got a tie-up with the various elite universities and the institutes all over the India. Like we have a tie-up with the National Law School, Bangalore. So anything related to the law, we just can go to the experts and bring them here. We have a tie-up with the IISc, Indian Statistical Institute. So anything which is related to the data analytics, Six Sigma, we go to them and they come here and deliver courses in the programs here. or the any management related issue, we have a tie-up with IIM Ahmedabad, IIM Bangalore, IIM Lucknow, ISC Bangalore, IIT Madras, and all of these prestigious institutes all across. So these are the people who are coming frequently here to deliver you the and to give you the different perspective of it. Not only the HAL's perspective, the outside perspective, the different faculties from these colleges will be taking the different courses, different classes, which will give a different perspective of the outside world and what this course and the opportunities are all about. So of course, the aviation, the production management program, what we have launched, it is what is the expertise of the HAL. And we do have the intake of 120, what we talk about. We can take the 120 people and we are approved for 120, but we do take only the 40 people, for 30 to 40 people. This is what the range we have set for ourselves, so that we can bring in the quality people, we can train them well, and we can provide them with better opportunities once they pass out from the institute. So this is our sole objective. And the sole objective is not go into the commercial form of the business, is just to bring in the best people and train them and guide them into the best career opportunities which present out there. So this is what the sole objective of the course, and this is how the course runs through. So the course is of the duration of 2 years. So this year we have already floated the application. The last date of the application is extended from the 8th of August to the 21st of the August. So 21st of the August is what the last date of the application where you need to apply for the program. So this program, we have already started with the admission process. There would be some people who would have received a mail to submit their SOPs based on the initial scrutiny. So once you apply, you need to submit your SOP, which is the statement of purpose. Once your SOP is analyzed, you will go through the written test based on the, again, scrutiny after the SOP. And then you will have the interview to make it to the final round. So the written test will be based on the general aptitude, which is nothing but your quantitative analysis, your data interpretation, your verbal, non-verbal reasoning, as well as the English. So this is what the course content, the test will be, the aptitude test, which will be conducted for the admission process. Now there are the admission process. Of course, there is one question which I saw is about the fee of the course. So fee of the course is 8.5 lakh, and this is inclusive of your accommodation for the 2 years, which is of course at the par with the 3-star hotel kind of the facility. It is shared among the 2 people, but the world-class accommodation, and of course the food charges for the 2 years. Your mess charges are included in that. So your food, accommodation, and academics inclusive of all, and there are no hidden and the extra charges on top of it. So 8.5 lakhs what you need to pay for 2 years inclusive of everything. So this is what the charges and the fee for the program. So this course is equivalent to the MBA, potential degree in MBA. Of course, this course is equivalent to the MBA, and since for the MBA you need to have the tie-up with the universities. And again, in last webinar, as you discussed, when you have a tie-up with the universities, you cannot be agile. You need to follow the legacy systems, procedures. However, as a standalone institutions, we can be agile enough. We can train the people the way we want, though we need to follow the broader guidelines and the umbrella or the blanket guidelines by the regulating authorities. But of course, at the same time, we are agile enough to train the people the way we want. So PGDM is equivalent to the MBA program. There is no doubt about that. So do we have to stay in a campus even we are in Bangalore? Yes, you will have to stay in a campus once you get selected for the program, because this program is so rigorous that you will hardly get a time to sleep also. Like 3-4 hours, you can get in contact with any of the present PGDM people and you can ask them. Hardly 3-4 hours is what they get to sleep, because you'll be loaded with enough activities and the work that this program is rigorous. You can't afford to go back home, and you'll have to work in groups. Yeah, so there are different clubs and groups who are working for the different activities. So there is no going back. So you'll have to collaborate and work together. So you will have to stay in campus. So right now I'm working as a data analyst in aviation industry entry level, and the travel industry PGDM program will enter the big player in the market in aerospace. So look, this PGDM program, so whatever is your educational background, I'm not talking about that, but since you're already working in aviation field, this PGDM program gives you the managerial as well as some of the technical aspects of the program, like you will get to know about the industry, know about the aircraft. So these are the basic technical aspects which we impart, and majorly managerial aspects. And the any industry when we talk about, and we're talking about the aviation management program or the production management program, the any industry you talk about, the basic management concepts remain the same. Either I talk about the economics, either I talk about the operations, supply chain, or finance. So all these strategy, the basic concepts of the management remains the same. Only the industry specific skills what we need to impart, that will be given to you in aviation management. However, your scope is not limited to that. You can go and work in any other industries as well. Like in a production management, you have an opportunity to work in any other industry. It is open to all. So the industry specific skills are being imparted. However, you are always the generalist. The general skills are already there. These programs are already listed in our courses, right? And the practical aspects of it will be taught to you, and the applicability in any other industry also will be taught to you. In like the the analogy will always be given and taught to you. So of course, you can go and find the different opportunities out there. So after completion of the PGDM, what are the career opportunities? Placement for the engineering graduates. Is HAL a government organization? Of course, the HAL is a public sector unit, a Navratna public sector unit rather. But no recruitment in HAL direct, because we are mandated by the certain government guidelines wherein we can't recruit the people directly. So again, for the HAL recruitment, as our applications were out few days back, and now I think the written examination is going to be. So that is a process through which we hire. We cannot hire through the campus. But of course, as far as the eligibility is concerned, if anytime the HAL is recruiting, the PGDM people will be eligible to apply for that. That has been included in it. So what is the industrial exposure to the student? Can get the experience throughout their course curriculum. Of course, look, so one aspect is very, very clear that HAL is an industry, and industry runs the institution. So of course, you will always have the industry exposure, and the HAL is present all across pan-India. So we have plants in Lucknow, Kanpur, offices in Delhi, Vizag, Nasik, Hyderabad, Bangalore, Kerala, Orissa. So all of these places HAL units are present. And in Bangalore itself, there are 9 to 10 production units which are available, as well as the R&D unit. So of course, HAL will give you the next exposure. We have got our airports which were operational, and the HAL airport which was being used before 2008 as an international airport. So we have got all the expertise, how to manage the airport. So airport management, the air traffic control, we have got our own. So we have got a different manufacturing facilities over here. So those things you can anyway visit. However, there are various vendors, the various suppliers working for the HAL. You will get an opportunity to work with them as well. So HAL is the hub of the aviation industry, and there are various spokes to it. You will get a chance to work with all of them depending upon the availability of the time and requirement of your course. So I hope I have answered your question, Chandu. The entrance exam date and the pattern difficulty level examination placements, I am not supposed to answer all of them, but of course the entrance exam date, as I said, it will be kept somewhere in the third week of the August. The entrance exam date, once we scrutinize your SOP and you'll be receiving the relevant mails and the calls from our side asking you to submit all of this, you'll be receiving a mail for the entrance test, but keep in mind it will be in the third week of the August. You will be informed accordingly. The entrance test, and then followed by the interview. There also you will be informed well in advance to attend that. And as far as the difficulty level is concerned, I can't comment on that. So as I said, it's a general aptitude test. You will have to be proficient in your quantitative aptitude, data interpretation, and English and reasoning part of it. So what are the placement opportunities after completing the course? Will HAL or in aviation industry? Within HAL, as I said, within HAL there isn't. You can apply as a general candidate and go through the competition and get into the HAL. This is what HAL follows. However, as far as the placements opportunities outside is concerned, so as I said, we have already completed the 2 batches of the executive PGDM program, which was for the experienced people. So in experienced people, we had a mix of people. We had some of the HAL internal candidates which were sponsored for the program and some external candidates. So like in our first batch, we had around 10 candidates and we were able to place around 8 of them. And the highest package was around 18 lakhs. But I am not promising that here because that was for the executive people, the package. And for the freshers, we have started last year and the first batch is going on. They are in second semester right now. So all of them has got their internships and have done with the internships. Now, as far as the placements is concerned, we are trying our best to get all of them placed, and we are sure that we will find something or the other opportunity for them to place. And the companies which came earlier and recruited from the HMA campus are like the Lufthansa Technik has come and recruited 3 people. The Tata Advanced System has recruited 1. Many Aerospace has recruited 1, SLN Technologies, the Gensar Aviation. These are the different companies because we hardly had 10 people back then. So these are the different companies who visited HMA campus and recruited our candidates. So in further in PGDM first batch, which is undergoing, we'll also find it better opportunities out there. So these are the opportunities, and there are various other aviation industries which are working in the country. So as far as the Boeing, Airbus, they are working. Safran is working. The Infosys, the various TCS, they are working on the various aviation projects. There are various consulting organizations who have the aviation as a vertical, who are consulting the aviation industries in a different field. Like PwC has one, KPMG has one, EY has one. All these companies, all these consulting firms also has the aviation as a vertical. And in different financial sectors, in different banks also, they need an expert from the different industries. So you can work as an aviation expert into the different financing agencies, different bankers who finance for the aviation industry, or they need to evaluate the projects based on that. So these are the various opportunities which are open all across for you. As far as the production is concerned, the production is a wide open field. You can work in any of the manufacturing organization. You can work any of the supply chain organization which exists out there. So we are trying to get the Flipkart and Amazon here in our campus to for the placement. So this is all we are trying to get into. Of course, not promises, but the efforts what speak, and we are putting our best to get all of you the placed once you are in a campus. So I'm in a civil service exam coaching faculty. I have completed a BE in automobile in 2011. Does this PGPPM program helps me changing the career path? Of course, look, it's never easy to change the career path after the 10 years. So never easy for anybody, but there isn't any impossible thing what you can't do. People have done it after 10 years also. And though you were in a teaching, still I would say, your mind is still like a fresher. So usually the people don't take experience people from the any other sectors, is that you have already been molded into the kind of the mindset, and your the mind and the body speaks in that way. But in a teaching, of course, you have been taking knowledge and teaching people. So I think it would be difficult, but can be done. So you can, of course, change it. So the test and the interview would be online. Yes, the written test and the interview both will be online. So you will be intimated accordingly. You will be sent a link to join the entrance test, and you need to submit within a stipulated time, whatever is allotted to you. And the interview as well will be online, either through the Zoom, Microsoft Teams, or the Google Meet, whatever the platforms you have, and you will be intimated accordingly for that. Does this course provide the training for the airport management? Of course, we do have the courses for the airport management, airline management as well. You will be given various inputs related to that. There is a particular course, the airport visits also included in that, the various technologies related to the airport management, the various nitty-gritties in airport management will be taught to you. So that is the part of the aviation management course. And in the production management course, you will be talking about the various certification program, the quality management system, the industry 4.0. And so these are the various courses, operations management. So these are the various courses you will be taught in the production management as well. So we have got these specialization and the specialist faculties and the infrastructure and all relevant requirements for all of these courses what we are conducting. And we are not going beyond that. So there. So I don't think I have any other questions here to answer. If you have any other questions, I'll wait for another 2 minutes. You can put it into the your Q&A box. Does HMA allows the bank loan? Yes, you can avail the bank loans. In our first batch also, many of the people have opted for the bank loans and they have got it successfully. So the bank loan is available for this program. You can always opt for the bank loan. So there is no doubt about that. So you can always get in touch with your seniors and you can talk to them. You can talk to us. We'll help you out in that. Does this cost? Of course, I have covered this question. While submitting document, insert the salary slip. Which document is best to submit? If you are opting for the executive program, of course, you need to submit the your experience letter, which you get from your organization. So that will be the document what we'll be taking in. Right, so your relieving certificate, along with that, how long you have worked in a different organization, so that your experience letter would work here. And depending upon the case to case, we can consider the salary slip part of it. So you need to submit your bank account statements then. So all these are, the document proofs what you need to submit. So fees and all, I have already told you about that. The fees for the executive and as well as for the normal program is same, which is 8.5 lakhs, inclusive of your accommodation and your mesh charges. Can I add freelancing experience too? If you are joining for the executive program, we will have to take a call separately on that. We haven't discussed about that. So you can drop us a mail if you have already applied for the program and what are the freelancing activities. If you can provide us some documentary evidences of that, we'll look into that. We'll look into that definitely. So you can send us all the required documents that what all the activities you have done if you want to get enrolled for the executive PGGM program, in which the 5 years of the experience is mandatory. Is there any selected number of seats to accommodate the freshers and the executive ones? Of course, for the executives, as I mentioned, for the freshers, we usually take 20 people in production management and 20 people in innovation management. Of course, this number is non-sacrosanct. It can vary. We can have the 1922 or 1822 or the 1921 kind of the ratio as well. For the executive program, as of now, we are targeting around 25 to 30. That is a number we are targeting around. So if we get enough people in there, we'll go ahead with the program. Otherwise, we'll just have the freshers program. So this is what it says. So in case of any queries, people are asking, in case of any queries, of course, you can drop us a mail, whatever you want to ask, or you can visit our website, which is nothing but halindia.co.in. You can visit that website. There is a HMA link provided on that website. You can find the different contact. You can find the contact details over there, whom you can call and find out the different details in there. So in PGDM advertisement, you can find the different two mobile numbers wherein you can contact and find out the details about the program. If you have any queries which you want to ask and clarify personally by calling the persons. So relevant persons or the persons will answer your queries. Any other questions or are we done with today? I'll take one or two more questions in case you have anything. Otherwise, we'll close the session. So I'll wait for another 2 minutes and take one or two questions if they are coming. And so I hope there are no further questions. I could see neither the Q&A or the chat box as well. But of course, one thing is for sure that this program is different from any other MBA colleges out there, because as I told you, this is done and this is designed and delivered by the professional and the managed at the best possible way. As well as job opportunities are concerned. Of course, as I mentioned, the data of our first two executive PGDM batches, and this batch also will find the best opportunities out there, and whoever is coming to the HMI will find the best opportunities and the best job opportunities into the market. And of course, we are assisting you in terms of the placements. And most of all, as the ma'am has told in the webinar, we are focusing on the width, as well as we are going vertically as well as horizontally to develop your expertise in these skills which is required to survive in this world, in this VUCA world. So with that note, if any other queries you have, again, I will say you can drop us some mail. So one or two questions are coming. So before closing the session, I will take those last three questions and then close the session. So aviation management, the airport management is same? No, sir. Aviation management is the broader umbrella field. However, the airport management is one sub part of the aviation management. Your aviation management includes the management of the operations of the aerospace manufacturing company, the service organizations, as I said, what are the different consulting firms, financing firms, or the airline operations. So these all are the different MRO activities, the repair and overhaul activities. So all these are or you are the component or the ancillary unit who are manufacturing different components of the parts in the aviation sector. So all this comes in aviation management. However, the airport management is one of the fields of the aviation management. So they are not the same, of course. So can I enroll for the research after the executive program? So we haven't started any of the doctorate program as of now, but of course we are planning to, and we'll look into the next year that we will get approval to start a research program. So, but as of now, we do not have any doctorate program in here at HMA. But of course, you can start your research and you can do your research based on the PGDM. There is no doubt about that. Light on the pay packages for the fresher. Look, I do not. So this is the first batch we haven't placed. So we are also trying to figure out what would be the best pay packages and what the companies are offering. So we are trying to figure out, but approximately I would say anything somewhere around 6 to 12 lakhs. That is a range what I am expecting after this completion. So I'm not exaggerating anything over here. So 6 to 12 lakhs is the fair range for the freshers. What we are expecting from our recruiters, whomever we are contacting or trying to get in here in the campus. So this is what our expectation is from them. So research program I have answered. Degree in aviation management, any opportunity in airport management through this course? Of course, there is an opportunity. As I said, there is a separate course for the airline and the airport management, airport infrastructure management as well. So either you can work with the companies who are managing the airport and presently running the airport, or you can work with the companies who are executing the airport construction projects. So you can work with those industries as well. And the companies who are financing those construction projects, you can work with those companies as well. The company who are consulting those projects, you can work with those companies as well. So these are the different opportunities available out there in terms of the airport management and the airport infrastructure management that we teach here. So you can work with any of these organizations out there. So there is one question from Pooja Sharma, which is coming. What is the statement of purpose? So statement of purpose is the written statement from your side. What have you done? Why and how your experience or your interest brings you to this program, and what you will be doing, and what are your the future aspirations pertaining to your careers. So who you are, why do you want to do this program, and how it is relevant, means how you will fit into this program based on your background, your interest, your education, and what you will be doing, and what are the different opportunities you are looking at after completion of this program. So this is all comprises in a statement of purpose. So I think that's it. We do not have any questions in here. So with that note, thank you very much to all of you for joining this webinar today with us. And if in case of any queries, I have already told you, you can write a mail and visit our website and contact in below in the mentioned contact details over there. So with that note, thank you very much and wish you all the best in your careers. Whatever you are doing, do the best and keep learning, be agile. So with that note, thank you very much.